My mommy and come pick me up and say, "Mommy, I'm fucking starving here." My mom ain't got no money, and I ain't crying to her. Fuck, you know.
All right, so
I'm a
now,
man,
all right,
you know?
all right. So it's 2 weeks. You don't say anything to him, right?
So no,
Then,
nobody.
then you have week number 3.
And I get $100.
You get $100.
And I get back to the efficiency.
How are you eating now? 3 weeks. How are you even eating?
Well, when Larry left me with, like, I went down with 150.
Right.
Larry left me with $100.
All right, so it's $250 to feed
For
yourself
2
on 3 weeks. Fat Matt over there eats that much in one day.
Oh yeah. Oh well, now you know. Jesus, you spend that a week in the grocery
Of course.
store. You know?
Yeah.
But I was eating.
Yeah.
I was getting a whole chicken, a whole like 4 or 5 pound fryer.
And in Mexico, they're alive. Or Puerto Rico, whatever the hell it is.
Puerto Rico, 4 or 5.
You're just grabbing these chickens off the street.
Yeah, right. No, 4 or 5 pound fryer in Puerto Rico cost $20 because the chicken. It's just so horrible.
So 3 weeks. 3 weeks, $100.
3 weeks.
Week 4.
150.
Week 5.
50.
6.
Abby got him to give me 50.
Okay, and so then Abdullah buys you ticket, you go home.
Abby actually says, "We're not taking this," and they booked the match, me and Carlos. We'll come back to that.
Right.
Abby buys me a ticket to come home, and I'm ready to quit.
Okay.
That was it. I had it.
You're ready to quit wrestling?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had it.
You come home.
Yeah.
What makes you change your mind? What makes you say, I still want to do this?
Well, I was still doing indies, but I'm figuring I'm just gonna do it. And I'm just gonna work. And the pizzeria, I could have got my job back at the pizzeria, but I ended up getting a job as a bouncer in a club, a summer club by my house, where I basically turned myself into a full-blown alcoholic. I was drunk every day. I literally, from the time I got the job until the time I left for Smoky Mountain, I was drunk every.
Did you drink much before?
Partied, you know, but
this is
like
now what?
Thing, you know?
So what made you become like a degenerate drunk?
I was just depressed. I didn't think.
Because of the wrestling.
Because of the wrestling.
So Carlos Colon over 6 weeks totally destroyed everything.
Destroyed me, man. Totally destroyed me. I mean, I gave up a $780 a week job, plus the money I'm making on indies.
Right.
A lot of respect I got up. You know, I'm building this name. This name is a good young worker, a respectful guy. You know, and I go down there.
And are you down there as Buddha Singh?
Same gimmick. They just changed it to Dara Singh because they had a Buddha Dean working down there, and it was too close to him, and I'm not related. So when I came home, I was just depressed, and
You were drunk.
Well, I couldn't drink down there at all. So when Abby came down, he saw me, and I lost 70 pounds in 6 weeks. I lost 70 pounds of body weight. I was like 250 pounds and like this. And I had no arms, no chest, no legs. I was just so I got
not the physical marvel that we're used to seeing.
Jesus, that's why I was always so heavy with the rest of my career because I would never.
You'll never allow yourself to. Yeah, the same thing. All right, now let's jump out of order now.
Okay.
You're already I guess you're a fairly big name. You know,
sort of.
Even though I'm the mass maniac.
Right now, you mean?
No. Look, here I am, the mass maniac, greatest mass wrestler of all time. Been smacked around by every big name wrestler there is on the indies. Headbutted by Jimmy Snuka, kicked in the face by Jimmy Snuka, smacked around by King Kong Bundy.
Ooh.
When I met you 3 years ago, I had no idea who Balls Mahoney is because I didn't watch ECW.
Right.
So we're going to say you're a fairly big name at the time. When you finally became Balls Mahoney, okay, what the hell did you do to Carlos Colon? Did you do anything?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you do?
Well, I actually got Carlos before I left.
Okay, so when did you finally get your revenge on Carlos Colon?
The last night, Abby convinced him to give me $50 so I could live another week.
Right.
Got a buddy of his to have an SUV ready outside. We got our gimmicks on. All our clothes, I'm already packed up at the hotel.
Right.
All our clothes are in the car. I get handcuffed to the Invader, connected by a chain across the ring like this with barbed wire wrapped around the place.
Right.
And Abby and Carlos are brawling around the building. And, you know, Invader, and now it's double whammy too now because I'm in the ring with the guy who killed my idol, you know? And Abby told me, he goes, when I give you the signal, do it. And I said, all right. And I saw Abby cuts him off, hooks him, looks at me, goes like this. I'm selling for brother. He's hit me with the little gimmick. I take the gimmick, I stick it right. He's got like what, just basically a spoon that he taped up. I take it, stick it right in his throat. I actually had a pair of handcuff keys. I unhandcuffed myself. I shackle him from that across the chain this way to the barbed wire, and literally just start measuring right hands and beat the living fuck out of him. And 5 punches broke a bunch of bones in his face. And then as Abby's going, come on, champ, that's it, I went after Carlos. And he's going, no, because Carlos just owed him money, and he was pissed off. He didn't want to burn bridges. He figured and I went after Carlos, grabbed a hold of him, gave him one shot that knocked him flat out. He was unconscious. And I busted it. You ever see Godfather?
I've heard of that movie.
You know, that one, the first shot when I hit Carlos,
right.
Whoop, you saw that blood smoke, just like. And I went to start kicking him, and Abby, grabbed me by the throat and drove me out, got me in the car, and goes, you can't do that to me, I'm getting you out of here. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry, I'm crying, I'm hysterical. I'm like, never mind, I'm out of this, I'm done. He goes, no champ, I'll wrestle you, I'll come back, don't worry, we'll get you to Japan. I'm like, bro, I'm fucking 250 pounds, I'm never gonna, fuck, I mean, the guy got me off the island alive,
I mean, what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna go inside. I have common diarrhea. We're going to go take care of my common diarrhea. Then we're going to come back and finish the story. We're not going to film the common diarrhea. My diarrhea is clearing up a little bit.
Was it solid, runny, chunky?
It's diarrhea. Diarrhea pours out. All right. Now, what we were talking about before was the end of your 6 weeks where you got only $400. You got in the ring, punch Carlos Colon in the face. Abby bought you a ticket. You hop back.
Right. Got the job in the bar.
You turned into a lush. You're a drunken piece of garbage.
Still working indies though.
When did you snap out and take the next step?
Chris Candido had come home. Chris was working for Smoky Mountain.
Right.
And he'd come home for vacation to see his family. And he came and saw me. He came to the house, came to the pizzeria. I was working part-time at the pizzeria, but I ended up being such a drunk that I got fired. I was the best cook they had, so it tells you a lot. And so he's like, look, just give me a tape. Give me the tape of your cage match with Teddy Petty. I missed a leg drop off the top of the cage. And he's like, I'll give it to Cornette. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm like, yeah, sure, fine. Oh, yeah, I'll go down and work. I don't care at this point, I really didn't. I was just like, okay. Because Chris is trying to help me out, It's just like he sees this, a big guy, one of his best friends. He knows he can count me for anything still to this day, And we was going through a rough patch, and I get a call like 4 days later from Jim Cornette going, that was the damnedest bump I ever saw in my goddamn life. I cannot believe it. You're a 330-pound man, come off the top of the cage, and you're working with that Cheetah Kid. Ain't that great, but man, it shows you covered up. And I'm like, who is this? And he's like, oh, Jesus, look, I want to use you, but I can't call you Buddha. Say, I know the gimmick you're doing. Look, I got this gimmick for you. You're going to be kissing Tammy's like retarded homeless friend that he gives like the whole gimmick. And your name is good. You ever read that Kill 'Em Mockingbird? I go, I'm going to be Boo Radley. He goes, well, Jesus Christ, you got a brain too. Yeah, but you're going to be Boo Bradley. I'm like, sounds good, fine. At this point, I didn't care. I'm like, all right,
And where was this? Smoky Mountain?
Smoky Mountain. Okay. So I go down there.
Now, where is Smoky Mountain?
That was run out of East Tennessee. We ran Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia. Just that whole loop.
Right.
And
how long were you down there for?
Full year. Moved down there for a year.
Okay. How was it?
It was probably what was the biggest turning point ever for me.
Okay. Now, what did it turn into?
It turned into the Santa Claus from WWF.
Okay.
But it developed me into a complete worker.
Right.
You learned everything.
Right.
I learned more in that year than I have ever since.
Okay. Yeah. Now the year's up. You become who?
3 months later, I get a call from working in a gas station. Now I'm doing indies, and I get a call from Bruce Pritchard, saying, "Look,
who does what?"
Brother Love.
Okay, but
and he's also office boy.
WWF.
Talent relations.
So WWF talent relations
calls me at the gas station.
Right.
And says, look, we want to do this gimmick with you. We'd like to set up a meeting with you. When can you come up here? I'm like, well, would you like me up there? He goes, well, when are you working again? I'm like, that depends on when you want me open for the meeting. Right. And he's like, because basically what he says is, look, we're going to sign you for 2 years.
Right.
We're going to give you this Christmas-like gimmick.